and welcome back to GyrlSense. I am Maria del Carmen, your host. Today's guest is Tyra Taylor. Tyra completed her associate's degree in science at Quinnipiac Community College. She received her undergraduate degree in science and criminal justice at the University of Massachusetts and received her graduate degree in public administration at Anna Maria College in Massachusetts. She successfully completed the school resource officer training. Tyra is a field trainer officer and intoxilizer instructor and a next gen instructor. She's also a crisis intervention team officer. She's a member of NABLO, National Association of Black Law Enforcement Officers, and one of two recipients of the 2017 MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. I am very proud to share that Tyra is also a police officer for the town of Windsor. So hi Tyra, welcome
Hi.
to the GyrlSense family. I'm so proud that you're here.
Thank you.
I do want to take the time right now and thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate you choosing a career that is you've dedicated your life for the safety of myself, for the safety of my family, and especially for the safety of the Windsor public, the residents at Windsor. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for appreciating it.
So we do have something in common. We were both born in New York.
Okay.
And I know that you represent Brooklyn.
I do, very strongly.
And I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
But I was actually raised in Windsor, so I was only cool for like 5 seconds.
It still counts. It definitely still counts.
I do have spent many years early on in Hartford first, but my most memory is always here in Windsor. Windsor is home to me. Unlike myself, though, you come from a fairly large family, 24 children. I mean, I have a million gazillion cousins, but honestly, I was raised an only child. So
Okay.
that's where the common thread ends, right? So tell me a little bit about your grand household.
Okay, well, we weren't all raised in the same household. I was actually raised by my grandparents, but my mom and dad has kids separately. My mom had 10 children. And 2 actually passed away, so 8 alive. And my dad had 14, not including the ones with my mom. Funny thing is, we all know each other. We were all raised pretty much together. We spent summers together, holidays, and so we're all still close to this day. Very close.
Very, very
Doesn't even seem
beautiful.
like it's as many of us as it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Very overwhelming. I can't even imagine if it was under the same roof. The bathroom time alone would have been outrageous.
Yes.
So where do you fall in the lineup there? No pun intended.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Okay. And what are the ages of the variety of ages, if you can think of it?
The oldest will be 41, and the youngest just turned 23.
That's awesome. So this certainly, one way or the other, may have prepared you for motherhood.
Oh,
And now,
definitely.
I'm assuming you don't have a household of 24?
No.
Okay.
No, not
So tell me about your family.
Okay, well, I have a set of twins, a boy and a girl. They're 16. They're juniors in high school right now, so we're getting ready for the whole college experience. We're starting college tours this year. Scary.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And, you know, they're getting ready to take their SATs.
Okay.
But it's just me and my children in the house, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. They're my children also, so they
Of
count.
course.
Yeah.
For babies. And so while we're on a topic with your children, and right before I jump into your actual career, how does your daughter and your son feel about your career choice?
At first, they were a little nervous, and they didn't like me going to work. But now they're completely comfortable. They love the fact that, you know, I'm out there, because I explain to them what I do. And sometimes I tell them stories about my night or what happened during the day, and they love the fact that I'm out there like that. And they're actually very proud of me. They brag about me all the time. So
That's very nice. So before we really get into your role, your current role, You've gained skills in many industries, such as mental health. You've worked in the intensive care unit in some capacity. You've also worked with the geriatric population. But ultimately, you did choose to become a police officer as your career choice. It seems that you've always been interested in those particular fields that help people with the most needs. When exactly did you decide to join the police force? Was it the plan all along, or was it just chunks of these individual types of positions that led you there, or was it a circumstance?
When I was 7 years old, I knew I wanted to be in law enforcement. My grandfather was actually in FBI. My parents were correction officers. I knew I wanted to be in law enforcement. I was always towards that, but I had a very overbearing older sister. And when I first went to apply for the NYPD and they came to my house to do the background, she told them no and closed the door in their face.
Oh no. Oh no.
Overprotective. So then when I finally did it on my own, I just knew like I always wanted to go that route. When I worked for the other capacities of like mental health and geriatrics in the ICU, that was always in the medical field. And that was just because I was just always good administratively. So that's just where I got my job, and I just stayed in that field to help me pay for school.
Wonderful. And when you got in the police academy, is there some test to get in? Like how do you get in?
For which?
For an actual police academy.
When I went to the police academy for Windsor, yes, it's a test. We have to do a written test. We have to do a physical agility test, and then you have to get hired, and then they send you to the police academy. So it's like a whole process with that one.
I see. So how confident were you in succeeding completing the whole academy? How confident were you?
I was very confident. I'm somewhat of an overachiever.
Okay.
So.
Really? Okay.
So I just went, took it on the day and just went and did what I had to do and didn't face me.
Where exactly do you think that confidence came from? I mean, I know that you have plenty of siblings. Certainly you've just mentioned that you have family members in this authority type roles. So was it fed from family? Was it something that you just, I'm asking on behalf, I think, from our viewers. So I see a 7-year-old female wanting to be a police officer, knowing that they want to be a police officer. So where does that confidence comes with how we're so conditioned on what a police officer should look like?
I have no idea. I know I come from a very strong family, and the women in my family are very strong. And my grandmother was always big on, you can do whatever you want. You can do what your brothers do, and you can do what your neighbors do, and nobody cannot tell you that you can't do something. So I've just always had that in mind. And my grandfather used to always tell me, just always strive to be the best. My aunts and uncles, if I always felt inadequate in some way, they would say to me, like, why do you feel this way? You can do it. What is the problem? Why do you think you can't? And I don't know, I just grew up with that a lot. It was really no way of saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. In my family, it wasn't accepted, so.
Okay. So that tells me, so isn't that a wonderful thing for me to hear? You have different ends, right? You have that circle of individuals, specifically females, who lack that sense of confidence, who believe when told that's not a career job for you, knowing that in the future you might be a mom, you might be someone's wife, why not pick the stereotype, a teacher or a nurse, So it's very pleasing to hear someone come from a household or a background with family that tells you different, tells you, and you were very quick to say, I don't know, which means it's so embedded in you that you don't have to think twice about it. It's almost like, yeah, what else? Why wouldn't I be, you know? So that's exactly how our young girls should be, is what I'm trying to say. Mentors should be mentored as a young child, not stopping them just because they are females into doing whatever it is that they want to do. So thank you for that. It's very refreshing.
Oh,
So now you're in the academy.
yes.
What can you share about the actual academy? I can think of 1,000 things, but tell me about it. Is it the good, the bad, the ugly? How much you can share with us for that 7-year-old that's watching, that may be watching, or that woman who wants a career change, but thought, geez, the police academy, is it all females? Is it co-ed? Like, what do I do?
It's co-ed.
Okay.
It's co-ed. We all live, well, certain academies. The one I went to, we all lived in the barracks together, and the females room with the females, the males room with the males. We had separate areas for like bathing and bathroom areas, but we did everything else together as a team.
Okay.
So I guess it was nothing really bad about it. It's all a mental conditioning type of environment. Like, they mentally prepare you as much as they could for being out in the world. And when you're on the job, criminals don't look at the fact that you're a female. They don't look at the fact that you're a male. They don't look at the fact that you're small, big. They're just going to do what they do, and they're going to try to come at you in any way. And no matter your size, no matter your gender, no matter your race, you have to be able to prepare and defend yourself. And that's what they really train you for.
Zone in.
Yeah.
So with regards to the actual training, the physical training, what's the expectations? Are you expected, and then I know because I'm asking for myself, and I know others might be wondering as well. So if a male is told to pick up, and I don't know if this happens, I'm just making it up, 100-pound weight, is it the same expectation for a female to pick up that same 150-pound weight or 5 weight?
Well, it depends on the activity that's going on. We have to have the same, when we have the physical training as far as the defensive tactics, we all have to do the same thing. Okay. We all have to do the same thing as far as the physical training with working out and everything. We all have to pretty much do the same. With the testing, for the entry testing and exit testing, it's different levels for your age and your sex. Okay. But that's pretty much the only difference. Everybody's expected to perform the same.
And how long is the training?
I think Connecticut just extended the police training, but mine's just 23 weeks. I think now it's 26 to 27 weeks.
Okay, wonderful. So it's going to be a little cheesy, but my ultimate favorite movie is An Officer and a Gentleman. It is my very ultimate favorite movie.
Classic.
I was so proud of Richard Gere's character when he graduated after all that he endured from the Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. How proud were you having accomplished your ultimate?
I was very proud, because it was like, I did it, it's done, now I can go work and serve the community that I signed up to serve. My kids were at my graduation. My best friend, one of my best friends was there with her husband, and my kid's dad, even though, mm-hmm. he was there also to support me. So it was a very proud moment. Oh. And to get pinned with your badge, and, it's just very proud.
And so now that you're on the force, mm-hmm. How long has it been?
A little over 5 years.
So have you been challenged now? I mean, we spoke a little bit about it earlier. Just the thought of a woman wanting to get into the police force, but now that you're in it, have you been challenged because you're a female? And what I mean by challenge is, have you been asked, why did you choose this career? Or aren't you thinking about your children? That sort of...
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. I go to calls and I'm talking to people and they're asking me like, well, what made you want to become a police officer? And you're so tiny. And I'm like, okay, but did my size affect how I just treated you? Did my size affect how I just handled your situation? Mm-hmm. So, mm-hmm. And they usually get it by then. They're like, oh, okay. But people wonder that all the time about females, and I feel like it's somewhat of a double standard,
Correct.
but it doesn't bother me anymore because it's like I can do the same thing that my partner's doing, so we're good.
I would take it as a teaching moment, right? So if challenged, you know, probably would be a great time to exercise what was done to you, as far as your grandmother, why can't you do that, so forth. So it would probably be a great teaching moment to let that individual, because it's just a level of ignorance on their behalf, say, no, you can be one too, type thing. So it would probably, I'm just saying, but it's a teachable moment.
A lot of times it's males more than females, I found.
Okay.
So they're like prejudging me.
Mm.
Females don't, they're usually not the ones like, why'd you choose that? Usually females are like, oh, I was thinking about it. Do you think if I do this, I can, I would be successful? I'm like, yes. And then I give my information. You ever have any questions? Call me. You ever want to know further? Call me.
That is excellent.
And that happens a lot. It's usually the males that are more challenging.
It's the males that are more challenging.
Yes.
Who would have thought that? Okay. Again, it could be a teachable moment.
That's true. That is definitely true.
It could be a very teachable moment, right?
That's definitely true.
in a lot of ways, right? Okay. So, in 2006, you applied and got in to the New York Police Department, as you initially tried to mention.
Yes.
So you applied and you got into the NYPD, but you decided to serve the Windsor community. Why did you change your mind, or what brought you to Windsor?
Well, in 2006, when I applied, I went through everything and I backed out the last minute because of childcare issues. And my children were so young, and it was they wanted to basically put me to serve where I live. And I didn't feel like I was ready for that with the children. I moved out to Mass, and I just focused on my children. I worked, I went back to school. And then I just decided one day, like, I'm not getting any younger. I really want to do this. I need to just focus and do it. And Windsor actually came up by accident. My sister lived in South Windsor. And I was talking to someone there, and they were like, and I was telling them about the conversation. They were asking me, like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm in school for this. They're like, what do you plan to do? I was like, well, I'm going back to my initial plan. I want to be a police officer. They're like, did you try Windsor? And I'm like, no. And it's like, they're hiring right now. And like 10 minutes later, I went online. And I found it, and I researched the town. I was like, oh, okay, I think this might work. Like, I didn't want to be in a Hartford or Bridgeport or New Haven coming from New York. I'm like, I want more personable and community-oriented. Not saying they're not, but it's more city-like. Right. And when I found Windsor, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I like this town. So I applied, and I actually got the position.
Oh, that's wonderful. That reminds me, earlier this year, I attended in the town of Windsor a town hall meeting. It was your sergeant who brought many officers, or a couple of officers, and just spoke about, statistics on whatever crime, and comparing one town to the other town. And one of the Windsor officers was sitting there. I don't remember what town he came from, but or transferred from, but one of the things that stuck in my mind was, I'm in my cruiser and I'm driving down, Windsor Avenue, and I get people waving, and so, I pull over and I ask, what's the matter? And they're like, I'm just saying hi. I'm just saying hello. And so it took a lot for him to get used to that. So now he still pulls over because he wants to make sure that he doesn't wave back to someone who needs his help. So that really stuck my mind. So it is the character of Windsor. We cannot stress that enough.
Yes.
Very, very friendly. And so, thank you for that.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you for being a Windsor police officer.
Thank you.
Do you think that your level of proudness when you actually graduated from the Windsor Police Academy, or were sworn in to the Windsor Police Department, do you think it would have been the same level of proudness if you were sworn into the New York Police Department?
Yes, on different levels.
Okay.
With New York, it would have been, I made it. This is my home. I love New York. I'm still a big New Yorker.
Yes.
I still talk about it all the time. I go home often. I'm actually going Saturday.
Yeah.
It would have been more of, I've made it. I accomplished this. I'm serving my town, the place I love, and I have a lot of friends and family that are NYPD. So I would have been joining my friends and family.
Sure.
And that was the proudness for New York. If I would have done that, I would have, been proud for that reason. With Windsor, it was more like, I followed my dreams. I made it. I love what I do because this is an awesome department. It's like, I feel the support of everybody, the administration, other officers. I was just welcomed, like, so openly. And I felt like, that was just where I belonged. So it's like a different sense of pride. And it was like, I can actually do it. I can actually matter. I can actually make a change. I can actually make a difference. And, have people supporting me.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Well, I thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanking you all day long here. So what are the first steps if anyone is interested in applying? Well, before I even ask that question, let's say for those individuals who are interested, for all of those individuals that you've come across and said, I thought about that, but their level of confidence may not be where yours was at the time. What advice could you give them where they could, find it within them to search and to follow their dreams, if it's still there, to become either a police officer or whatever the career choice may be?
The advice I usually give people when they say, I was thinking about being a police officer, I don't know if I can do it. I always tell them, so think about how bad you want it. And then if you want it really, really bad and you're not doing it based off fear, how are you going to feel 10 years from now when you're doing something you don't love and you're like, I could have done this, I should have done this? Like, you live once, take chances. You never know what you're good at unless you try it. And you're not going to know if it's for you unless you try it. It's no harm in trying it. It's like, and don't feel embarrassed if you fail at it. I mean, it just wasn't meant for you, but at least you tried and you know for yourself. So I encourage everybody, just go for it.
That's wonderful. What gets you truly excited about life? I went there.
Food. Tacos.
I'm going to have to make some tacos.
No, I like eating. Life in general, I don't know. I don't really think about it that much, I guess. I just wake up and take it day by day. I get excited knowing that my kids are okay. I get excited knowing that my kids are not going through some of the things I've gone through in life, and knowing that, their future is a lot brighter than mine was. And they have every opportunity afforded to them and they're taking it. I get excited at that. It's like I'm pretty much, I guess you can say I'm not living through my kids, but I'm enjoying life through them. So that, right now, that's my main focus. Anything they want. That's why I travel a lot.
Right.
That's why I do things, because it's mainly with them. So.
Of course. Has there been a time where you went on a call and it either was so heartbroken, or did it almost break you, or it could have broken you, where you thought, man, why did I choose this? And then what we'll answer that first, and then we can.
I've been on very heartbreaking calls. I don't ever think, why did I choose this? I think everything happens for a reason, and God wanted me here at this call for a reason, and now I have to focus on making it better for these people going through whatever they're going through. So I don't think about it like I should have never chosen this profession. I think about it like I chose this profession. What can I do to make their life a little easier right now?
Okay. And what is, with regards to a little bit more of a world view per se, and the level of violence that we've been exposed to, one of my main concerns personally is, many, many years ago we've heard about the Rodney King issue, and that was taped, and it was a big thing because it was taped, and but now everything's taped. Fast forward till today, and everything is exposed, everything is shown. One of my main concerns is that we will be desensitized. So would, turning on the TV and seeing wrong happening, and we just change the channel because it's a normal day. So what are your feelings with just world view, and God forbid it should ever hit home?
I feel like we are in dark days with things like this. I feel like everybody's using the media and the taping and the violence, and they're exploiting it. And especially with police officers getting a bad rap, you only see certain things they choose to show, but they don't show the many officers out there feeding the hungry, helping the poor, buying Christmas presents for homeless children, putting homeless people in hotels, taking their time away from their family, doing Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, passing it out to people, making sure people are okay, checking on people on a regular basis. These are things that this is just people in my department that are doing behind the scenes that people don't even know of. And we get such a bad rep for this, and it's because people are desensitized and everybody loves negative. So they feed off the negative, and I just hope it gets better. It's just sad.
We could only hope.
Yes.
And we can always pray.
Yes.
Right, and keep the faith. Well, Tyra, once again, it's been my honor getting to know one of Windsor's finest.
Thank you.
I feel like I've met a new friend for life, and
Definitely.
I'll be waiting for you when I see the cruising pass by.
Please do, and I'll wait back, and I'll stop and check on you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
and
for having
I'm
me.
usually running on Dow Kennedy Road, so if you see me drop, please call for help. Thank you so much, and welcome to the GyrlSense family.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm Maria del Carmen, your host. Without you, this show would not be possible. Join us again for more GyrlSense.